Thank you, Hannah. Andy has been a Toastmaster for 17 years. He belongs to My Speak and One More Club. Andy believes that magic has an element of unexpectedness to it. Leaders often challenge the unexpected. Their ability to turn certain unexpected situations into magic moments is a characteristic of inspired leadership. Please help me welcome Andy Mayhew. Humor is powerful. Humor is powerful, Andy Mayhew.
Mr. Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. Do you realize I nearly destroyed a family vacation a number of years ago? Oh yeah, it had happened. This was 30 years ago. I was recently married. My wife and I, my wife Mary, and our stepson, John, set out for a vacation to British Columbia. It's a beautiful province of Canada on the west coast bordering on the Pacific Ocean. And during our time there, we rented a vehicle, and we had planned a ferry ride from the mainland to a place called Vancouver Island. That voyage was to take 90 minutes. We drove our car onto the boat, onto the ferry, and we parked our car, got out of the car, and looked at the scenery, the beautiful scenery during this voyage. John decided that he wanted to play games. So he went to the arcade, and in there, John was playing pinball and various video games and having a grand old time, and probably forgetting what time it actually was. The intercom came on, and it announced that people had to get back to their cars. It was time to exit the boat. We had reached our destination. Well, John was nowhere to be found. I said to Mary, my wife, I said, wait for John, and I'll drive the car off the boat. And once I get off the boat, I'll park somewhere close by, and we can meet at the car and go on. Well, I tried that plan, got off the boat in my car, but there was no close place to park. I was driving what seemed to be an eternity before I could even turn around to come back to the boat. And by the time I got back to the boat, the closest spot where I could park was about a 15-minute walk away. So I rushed out of the car, walked back to the boat, got Mary and John, and we walked back to the car 15 minutes. During that walk back, I started feeling my pockets. I realized there was no keys in the pocket. I was worried that probably left the keys in the car, hoping nobody would steal the car. And as we got closer to the car, I was relieved of that fact. I could see a car. But then when I tried to open the car doors were locked. And not only were they locked, the engine was running. I felt awful, felt terrible. We had to walk back another 15 minutes because there were no cell phones 30 years ago. We could not call the car rental company to come and help us. We had to walk back to find a payphone where we could make that phone call. And I did that. After the phone call, another 15 minutes back to the car, hot, sunny day. The three of us sat on the curb of the car, at the curb of the road rather, waiting for help to arrive. During that time, I thought to myself, well, I could spin this into a joke about how I destroyed a vacation. But it seemed not to be a good way to use humor. It wasn't going to create any magic. It was just going to make me feel bad and maybe give others an opportunity to have a negative impression of me. I was lucky in this situation. I was with family, and we were able to turn this situation around and see the humor in the situation, these crazy turn of events, the circumstances behind them. We could see the humor there, and it became a funny story to tell people. And it was done in a way where I didn't feel so bad about things. I felt actually good to be part of that situation. It was a nice way to use humor. And it was beneficial for me because I could then think back to the situation and realize that I made some kind of stupid mistakes. I should never have driven off the boat so quickly. I should have taken my time, waited for others to come back before exiting the boat. It was a learning experience to me to approach situations like this with more calmness and think carefully before reacting and not to react so quickly. Learning experience for me. I learned from that humor can be good or it can be bad. If we wanted to tell a joke to make fun of ourselves or worse, make fun of other people, it usually doesn't have any good results to it. It's usually not very good. But if we use humor to elevate a situation, make it lighter, it makes people feel good, feel happy, and it's a nice kind of humor. So I truly believe that there is good humor and bad humor. And bad humor can be dangerous and good humor can be terrific. The other aspect of humor that I've learned is that a lot of people plan their humor. They plan their jokes or their funny stories, and that can be really good, really effective. But there's also humor that happens spontaneously. We don't expect it. And I really enjoy that kind of humor. I used to work with a fellow. His name was Joe. Joe and I had a lot of fun working together. We were laughing almost throughout the workday. We would have puns and riddles. We would talk about funny situations that would happen at work. We could find humor. We could find reasons to laugh during the day. It was really enjoyable to work with him. But tragedy hit Joe, and it hit very hard. His wife died. They had 2 young children, and it was just a real, real tragedy. And I remember having to go to the funeral home. I really wanted to visit Joe and his family. I get into the room where Joe and the family was, and a lot of people in the room. It was deadly quiet. I got to the back of a long, long line and waited and waited and waited for a chance to see Joe. I get to the front of the line. I'm kind of sheepish. I don't really look closely at Joe, but my eyes turn towards Joe. We shake hands, start to smile a little bit, and then we started to laugh. This was no ordinary chuckle or giggle. This was a full-on belly laugh. My gosh, we could have wakened people up in the room with the sound level of our laughter. It was hilarious, actually. And after our laughing session died down a bit, Joe pointed to his children and said, "That's Andy." It was a wonderful moment. It was incredible to see humor injected into such a difficult, horrible situation. And it really was humor in its magical form. It was just amazing. And I was so uplifted. I think we were all uplifted by the ability to laugh in a difficult situation. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, humor is indeed powerful. It's a big, big part of life. But being a big part of life, it's also a part of our speeches and the stories we tell and the way we tell them. And we should use humor properly in both situations. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you.